Hello and welcome here to Talk FCB, and welcome back to another video here on the channel today, and we're going to be discussing quite an interesting topic, I think, which is the criticism this season specifically towards Jordi Alba. Now basically guys, this isn't a video I'm going to come on here and I'm going to say to you, don't criticise players, don't talk about players badly. That's not what I'm going to say. Criticism is absolutely fine, I've got no problem with that. Sometimes players' performances warrant criticism, sometimes there's been periods in the season where it's deserved, but at the end of the day I feel like our fans, particularly on social media, there is a section of fans that make us all look quite bad, and that is the reason why a lot of people are asking. I have deactivated my Twitter account. I'm not really sure how I'm going to do that going forward, whether I'm going to reactivate or leave it, because quite frankly some of the opinions that you can look at day in, day out, no matter if we won, no matter if we've lost, the opinions are always the same, and I always find people trying to find a way of being negative, and that's the problem here. I have no problem with criticism, but it's when that you've got something so good like a title win, yet some people can be so upset by a decision or a team selection, and it seems like there's always an urge, always a necessity to be dramatic, and that is the problem. On social media, the way to get attention is to be dramatic, and ultimately that's what these group of fans are looking for. They want your attention, they want you to question their judgment, they want you to see their judgment, and quite frankly it's so many people over-exaggerating, overreacting every single time. And basically what started it yesterday was the fact that Grimaldo, the man that we all sold, there was so much talk about it, he went to Benfica in January because he wanted to go, by the way, he wanted to leave the club. Of course, we didn't give him a chance in the first team, he didn't quite get his break. I suspect that we'll wait until the end of the season, we'll sell Adriano, get him off the wage bill, and then we'll need a left back. So my personal opinion is, had he stayed until the summer, there's every chance that during pre-season he could have got a shot. But he wanted to leave, that's fair enough, I wouldn't have a go at him for that. He went and got his chance, and yesterday he played in a Benfica Cup final in Portugal. Now what I'm saying in this video is not the fact that I don't agree with the fact that we didn't get a chance. I think yes, for sure, he would have been worth taking a gamble on instead of Adriano, but you got to bear in mind we're still paying Adriano huge wages. So for some sense of that, you want to get a bit of use out of him, but at the same time, yes, we should have given Grimaldo a chance. But the problem is people take one decision from Luis Enrique and they use it against him time and time again. Now for me, winning a treble in your first season, winning then possibly the domestic double in your second season, that would outweigh a decision not to play a left back, a 19-year-old left back or 20-year-old left back in Barcelona B. I think that's a better achievement to win all those trophies rather than just one bad decision. But the problem is you get one bad decision and these people then will turn constantly. For that one decision then, they won't like Luis Enrique. And that for me is shallow, that for me is poor judgment, because quite frankly, you have to look at the bigger picture. Not every manager can get every decision correctly, not every team can get every sporting decision correctly. You'll get good transfers, you'll get bad transfers. That's the way the world works. Not everything is perfect. We have to look at what is the good things here. We've won the title this season, we're in the cup final on the weekend, and even the fact that we're the board. I know people hate the board and I can understand some of the decisions are absolutely shocking, but we've just announced a record kit deal, the biggest deal ever in the world of football with Nike. And I just think maybe the board should get a tiny bit of credit from that, but of course their reputation has already been stained. But the problem with Jordi Alba is, and that's what I'm going to come back to here, because people yesterday, I deactivated because they were genuinely saying, and they were serious, that Grimaldo should have been brought into the first team and he should have replaced Jordi Alba straight away, and we should have benched the Spanish international, the man who's played for us now for many years, Jordi Alba, and we should have replaced him for a 20-year-old player from Barcelona B who has never appeared for Spain. And hear this, he's only made one appearance for Spain under 21. Now for me, if they think that he's good enough to just walk into Barcelona's first team, which by the way is the best team in the world, if they think he's good enough to just walk into that team, and he's never played more than one appearance for Spain under 21, let alone the national team. He's not even got a call up to the Spanish under 21 time more than once. And I just think that, quite frankly, the criticism of Jordi Alba is unacceptable. I really do. This is a guy now who's been with us since 2012. He's been with us over 4 years. He's made over 100 appearances for the club. He started here. He was a La Masia product, if you remember rightly, came up through the youth systems at Barcelona. And I just think, quite frankly, even when the performance performances aren't good, even when there is reason to criticise, you still have to maintain an element of respect. You have to respect these players for what they've given us. And I feel that some of our fan base on social media give us a bad reputation for being extremely ungrateful as fans. We are extremely spoiled with the players that we have, with the success that we have, and we deserve to give these players more respect which they have earned with service to our club over the period of the season. And let's just have a look at Jordi Alba's stats for this season. And that's the interesting thing here, because although some of his performances, I agree, haven't quite been at the standard that we've been expecting from him, you still have to say that if he was going to go out on the transfer market, I couldn't think of many clubs which wouldn't be interested in him. He's still among the best left-backs in the world without any question. He's made 6 assists in La Liga, which, by the way, is more assists than any other defender in La Liga. Now, I hear a lot of people saying, well, anyone would get that amount of assists with Lionel Messi. Now, well, that's a good point. Messi does supply Jordi Alba with a lot of chances, with a lot of through balls. But it's not only the passes which are outstanding. Jordi Alba's movement, Jordi Alba's runs are second to none. It's all good and well saying, oh, if we got Ricardo Rodriguez in, he'd get double figures for assists. Would he, though? Would he have the pace of Jordi Alba? Would he have the knowledge of the way that Barcelona plays to make those runs in the first place? And it's all good and well, saying about what other left backs would give us, but you've got to look at what we have got. We've got to look at what we have got, and what we have got is a player who, over a number of seasons that he's been with us, has given us very good service. He's got 1 assist in the Champions League, and in terms of his defensive capabilities, some people say that he's susceptible to being, poor defensively. Sometimes he gets caught out of position, but that happens. That happens with Dani Alves as well. The players are given such a license to go forward in Barcelona. The wing-backs play like wingers, so you're always going to get caught out of position. That's the point. Barcelona play that way. We play with an element of risk. We play when we can get caught on the counter-attack. That happens. That's life. And what happens with Jordi Alba is, a lot of people sort of jump on him, use him as a scapegoat, because simply we have no one else. He has had to play 29 games in La Liga, 8 in the Champions League, 2 in the Club World Cup, some in the Copa del Rey as well. He would have played, by the end of this season, nearly 50 matches. And for the demands on one player is incredible. He has had to deal with extreme pressure this season. There's been nobody that's been good enough to replace him. And think of that on his mind. He knows that he's always got to play. He's always got to play. He's never going to get a rest. And because there's nobody else to replace him. That's not his fault. The management, the board should have brought in a replacement left back, and we will do that this season. And I guarantee if you bring in somebody to give Jordi Alba's legs a rest, you give him a bit of a confidence boost, he will be an outstanding player. We saw that when he joined. He was brilliant. So I just think that some people need to have a bit of patience, need to have a bit of respect, because quite frankly this guy is of quality and is still one of the best in the world, no matter what you say about him. Yes, in the final third sometimes he doesn't always make the right decision, but who got the assist for the goal that opened up our title chance? Jordi Alba. Plays it across, Luis Suarez scores 1-0 against Granada. Who was there in the moment we really needed him? Jordi Alba was. A good run, a good pass. It's 1-0 in the final game of the season, the key goal in our title win. And in terms of what he does offensively, he's got 2 interceptions on average per game in La Liga. He's very good at that side of his game. He's a very good reader of the game. He's made 1.7 tackles. And he's made, 1.6 clearances per game. He's not a dreadful player. He really isn't. At times, like I say, there's been a dip in form, but that's the case for any player. And in that sort of situation, you've got to get behind that player, and that's the problem. People seem to get a perception now, because of people on social media, that our fan base is terrible. But I can tell you that times where I've been to the Camp Nou, and you've all seen it on the television. When I've been to the Camp Nou, for instance, I've seen it when people have been slating Pedro on social media. During his last season with us and last 2 seasons, people hated Pedro. They wanted rid of him, they didn't really like him, and they didn't think he was good enough for this club. That's a player who was absolutely massive for us under Pep Guardiola, and they didn't give him enough respect. But if you went to the Camp Nou and he played every time he came on, every time he came off, he was applauded. He was treated there like, a fantastic player. So I just hope people don't really take that from social media and think that in general, us Barca fans are not good supporters, are spoiled or ungrateful, because we're really not. The people who go to the games at the Camp Nou, and there are people like us on social media who can keep a cool head, who can be a bit patient, who can understand the game a bit better. And I just think there's a group of fans on social media which simply need to always have the attention, need to be dramatic, need to overreact, and need to have a sort of outlandish opinion. And I think that's the problem here. Another really good case is Neymar. There's certain people on social media now which will want to sell him. He's suffered a dip in the second half of the season, but people have already forgotten what he gave us at the start of the season when Lionel Messi was injured. Who stepped up? Suarez, but also Neymar was outstanding, arguably the best player in the world at that point. People have forgotten that already. In football nowadays, people have such a short memory, and it's really, really disappointing to see players who've given us so much over the last few years not get the respect they deserve. And in a few days, in a few weeks' time, in a few months' time, I'm sure the people who are having a go at Neymar will feel very stupid, and I'm sure the people who are having a go at Jordi Alba will feel very stupid as well. And I compare this to the situation actually at the start of last season when Luis Enrique had just, taken charge, when Dani Alves was going through a bad spell, and people absolutely hated Luis Enrique because he wouldn't bench Alves for Martin Montoya. They absolutely hated him. I saw usernames dedicated to Montoya, usernames dedicated with Lucho out because he wasn't playing Montoya, because he wouldn't bench Dani Alves. Lucho kept faith in Dani Alves. Dani Alves given us so much. He is one of the best players I have ever seen play for this club. A fantastic servant. And again, where was the respect? It needs to happen. People need to wake up. People need to open their eyes and accept this is a fantastic football club. We've got fantastic players. But at the same time, they're only humans. Bad spells happen. And when they do, you need to get behind the team and accept that. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of opinions, guys. I'm sure some will agree, some will disagree with what I'm saying. That's what this is all about. I've got no complaints with people who disagree with me. That happens. That's life. Like I said, I've got no problem at all with criticism. But at the end of the day, when all's said and done, you need that respect. And in the general bigger picture, we need to be looking at what these players have given us and respecting that and understanding that. So leave your thoughts down below, guys. I'll see you very, very soon. But until then, as always, Visca El Barça!